Oh, it's a great song. Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Tom Horton. I'm an organist here based in the United Kingdom of good old Great Britain. Today we're going to give you a wonderful, I hope, theatre organ style music lesson with this classic number, the Bugle Call Rag. This was actually published as far back as 1923, according to the sheet music, by the Lawrence Wright Music Company in London. Lawrence Wright is a name some of you might recognise from sheet music of the old days, and he also composed under a pseudonym which was Horatio Nichols. Horace Wright, who was Lawrence's brother, was actually, believe it or not, my great-great-uncle. So I have a wonderful family connection to the biggest music publishing company of the 1920s and 30s. Lawrence Wright had his office down in Tin Pan Alley, Denmark Street, as it's properly known in London. And he was known as the daddy of Tin Pan Alley, so a wonderful connection. But what's the connection with the theatre organ? Well, the Bugle Call Rag was recorded and featured by a very famous organist back in the heyday, which is this gentleman, the one and only Mr. Sidney Torch, who, had he just had a career as a orchestral conductor, arranger and pianist, he would have been very famous, but he had a stellar career as a solo theatre organist back in the 1920s and 30s, and there are many recordings that were recorded by the great theatre organist and issued on a disc, a gramophone disc, and of course 78s and so on, long play discs. And this Bugle Call Rag was one of his very, very famous releases, along with Temptation Rag, Hot Dog, and one or two others. Sidney Torch, if you've never heard any of his playing, well worth a listen to, and he really did transform the theatre organ into almost like a dance band. He was very, very popular in his day. So we're going to show you how we could build an arrangement of this piece, taking a few instances from the famous Sidney Torch recording as a little homage, if you will, to the great man himself. Before we go any further, folks, if you'd like to hit the subscribe button, it'd be wonderful to get you as a subscriber. There's loads of organ and piano videos here on my channel. And if you'd like to get a bonus PDF of the sheet music of this piece, you can get that as a free download when you subscribe to support my YouTube channel on patron.com, and the link is in the description. So we're going to go through my arrangement of this and show you some settings and also some ideas to perhaps make this piece come alive, not just in the theatre organ style, but you could play this on your home organs in a kind of a swing Dixie style band. So for those of you who have got the sheet music, you've downloaded it from patron.com/keyboard skills pro. You notice I've written lots of markings on it, and we're starting off with a thing called a drum intro. Now what I've actually done on my organ pack here, I've actually set up a whole list of registrations. So if you do have this Albee Wurlitzer pack on Hauptwerk, you can also download the registration file for this particular organ and enjoy it at home on your virtual instrument. So we're starting off with, on the bass pedals down here, excuse the socks, but we budget cuts, no shoes. We've got the bass drum, a timpani and a crash cymbal. So every time I push any pedal, look, I get those things. And then on the accompaniment, we've got a snare drum and a wood block. Now, of course, the wood block you'll hear does that, so it's one hit. The snare drum reiterates. So we're going to use that as a kind of an accent thing. So if you notice on the first 4 bars of the music, you can see here that the intro goes da 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 da, rest da 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 da, rest da 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 da. No, it doesn't. Rest da 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 da. Get it right. What we're going to use is the first 4 bars of that right-hand melody. I'll put a little snapshot here on the screen. Look, we're going to use that as an introduction, because kind of like a sort of a military style drum corps, if you will. So on the left hand, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, ta 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 ta, rest, ta 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 ta, hold, and maybe just one at the end for fun. Rest, rest, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Done. And you know, you can do a little something extra in there. You don't have to play exactly as the rhythm is written. But what we're going to do is we're going to play the pedal on the first beat of each bar. Okay, now even though there's not a rest on the first bit, we're going to go boom cha cha cha, boom cha 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 cha, boom cha 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 cha. You know, you can build something like that. So if you want to do some variations on that drum rhythm, you can do. But that's going to be our first introduction. So, for example, if you had, say, a Verzi or a Lowry organ or a Ringway, you can actually assign percussion. Lowry have the things called theatre drums. The Ringway you can do assignable. So things like that. And obviously on the theatre organ we have snare drum and woodblock on here, bass drum, timpani, and a crash cymbal there. If you haven't got a timpani, don't worry, just use bass drum and a nice crash cymbal. So this is how the first bit goes. So here's the drum introduction, 4 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cha 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 cha. Cha 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 cha. I'll now do that without talking. Something a little bit like that. You could vary it. You could go. Put some triplets in like that. But I thought using the first four bars of the rhythm of the right hand, that provided a really nice setting. So that you would have set up. So of course we've not got any other stops on look except the accompaniment and the pedals there. Okay, so then we would change to maybe a general piston to change everything. Okay, so I'm going to use my my keyboard over here to change to my next preset, which is this one. Okay, now what we've got here is we've got brass on the solo, we've got English horn, trumpets, saxophone, all at 8 foot, no 16s. So I've got horn, trumpet, tuba horn, sax, orchestral oboe. So those are up there on my solo keyboard. The lower keyboard I've got 16-foot reeds, not too bright, the trumpet, the tuba, I've got a tibia, I've got 8-foot reeds, tuba, trumpet, I've got tibia, strings and so on, up through the 4-foot tibias and strings. So kind of not too bright a sound, and then the lower keyboard is diapason, strings, 4 foot and 8, give that nice bright sound. And on the pedals we've got diaphone, tibia, board on at 16, we've got some tibias and flutes and things at 8 foot. Now, if you're frantically writing all that down, don't worry, because again, I've put screenshots of those registrations. So if you don't use this Albi Works pack, maybe if you're using a Paramount pack or one of the Masterworks packs, or whichever theatre organ you decide to use on your virtual Outwork organ, maybe you've got an Allen at home or a Lowry, as I say, you'll be able to replicate a lot of these settings on most instruments. You can download these screenshots, once again, free of charge. So with this, when you sign up for Patron, you get all these bonus extras from the silver level and above. So you will be able to get an annotated copy of the music, you'll be able to get the registration file for this particular pack, and you'll also be able to get the screenshots of the registration. So hopefully you will support the channel. So we've done our 4 bars, gang, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, pedal ta-ta-ti-ta, pedal chum-cha-cha-cha-cha. And then we're going to change the registration, and we're then going to play those 4 bars again. Here we go, so 1, 2, 3, 4. With a nice little ending there. So we play the 4 bars, we also play all the 8 bars of the introduction. Notice there I was going da 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 dum, da 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 dum, da 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 dum, following the actual bass line of the music there, because actually the bass line there is really good. Look, see how that goes. It goes dum dum bum bum, da 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 dum bum bum, G F E flat D C and bum da da dum ba dum bum ba da ba da ba dum bum bum. Right at the end, and now of course, what you have to remember, when the theatre organists of the old days, of course, there were no organ copies of these pieces. In fact, many of the theatre organists were playing actually from piano scores, and they would adapt them, because this has got chord symbols on in this case, and of course we can read bass clef and we can work out the actual harmonies. So you have to take the piano score with a little bit of a pinch of salt, so we'll be borrowing things from it. So here we go then. First, for those of you who've got the sheet music in front of you, we've got 8 bars. Bum, bum, bum. And at the end there I go, which is F7 to B flat. And that's a really nice tight introduction, a 4-bar drum playing, and then a traditional 8-bar thing. So let's work that through. And so we've got the drums set up. This I've done as a general preset just to make it easier for this video, but you'd manually select these. You'd have a general piston ready to knock off the drums, set everything up, because you want to go straight into your intro. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Change. There we go. So that's a great, nice little cadence there. We're then going to go up to the solo, third keyboard if you've got it. People often say, why do you need 3 keyboards on a theatre organ? Surely 2 is enough. And I always say, until you've played a 3-manual organ, you don't realise what you're missing. And even 4 is even nicer. But anyway, so then we're going to do the solo. So it says bugle call. Look in the music. So we're going to go ba 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 bum bum bum. Now, of course, we could put the sub-octave on, but then it doesn't really sound like a bugler. So that's why I've just kept it at 8 foot. So the brightest 8-foot reeds you can find, that if you've got an English horn, use it, or a French trumpet, but something that's really in your face. And again, then I'm just reading that solo line on my solo. I'm then going to come back down to the grate, the upper keyboard on a 2-manual organ, and I'm going to play my melody. Now, of course, what I'm actually going to be doing is sort of sticking mostly to a single note melody line, because at this point we want to set the tune up. We can do all the filling in stuff others, but we'll do little bits, taking a little bit there. You can see there on the 3rd line, look, there's this rhythm, or something like that. We could put that in as a little thing. So we've done a little horn, look. Down. And again, at the end there, you see that on the 2nd line, 2nd page, look, brag about the Bugle Call Rag. So there's a lot of changes there on the treble, look. But I like to do some sort of bouncing there. Okay. And then that F7 to B flat. The next line then has a solo. So again, we're going to use the solo keyboard. So this kind of horn up here is being left alone. So we've kind of got a lot of use out of this first setting. Back to the grate. Okay, so that takes us through page 2. So let's walk that first bit through nice and slowly so you can see all the changes, but all the sounds there that we've set up. Here's number 1. You can see we've just got the drums, and then number 2, big registration on the grate, nice bright 8s and 4s on the lower, solid pedal. Actually, no, only 1 reed on there. That's the tuba at 8 foot. But I'm letting the diaphone kind of almost act like a tuba. And then I've got my bright reeds on the top there. So we're starting with that drum pattern. Here we go. Hold. And what you need to try and do, if you can, is to try and keep that in rhythm. Change. But of course, don't do this, because you hear a little bit of the stop. So you need to make sure there's a clean registration change there, off the pedal, off the keys, before you press your general preset to change. So, off. Solo. Down. Solo. No pedals, no chords. And down. Okay, so that's our first bit, and we've done all of that basically with just one registration. The drums at the beginning obviously are a little extra, but all of that setting all comes. So we're not worrying about pressing lots of stops. We're not changing lots of things like that. We're just nicely using our keyboards effectively. And of course with modern digital organs, as I say, like Verses and things, you can zone sounds. You can put things up here, you could have a split point on a Lowry, so lots of ways of making these registrations play. Anyway, so we then go to the next page, the third and final page of the arrangement, and we're just simply going to add the great octave. And the reason we're adding the great octave is we then want this registration that we've got with 16-foot reeds, tibia, 8-foot reeds, tibia, strings, all the way through to 4-foot tibia and strings. We just want to now brighten this up because we are at the chorus. So it's actually, in reality, the same registration. I've set it up as a preset change just from the point of view of playing a little bit easier on my instrument here. But listen to how bright it becomes when we go into it from the second page. Here we go. You hear that brightness coming out there? Really nice, isn't it? So the chorus trots along really nicely in, as the whole piece does, in B flat major. Why is it in B flat major? Well, of course, this would have been written for a band that plays brass instruments, saxophones, and those instruments play nicely in flat keys. So that's how that comes about. But the chorus we need a bit bigger. So look, I'm mostly sticking to the melody though. Now, there's this little riff here, okay. Do you see there on the second line it says uke tacit? So that means the uke stops playing, everybody stops playing, it's a solo. Again, we're using that solo keyboard to produce that little thing. So the rhythm goes 1, do, 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 do. Now, obviously, you could play it straight. I quite like to dot it in a swing style. Etc. So what you want to do is you want to go up to your solo and play that unaccompanied. So it's like the bugler going. Obviously the bugler does it much better than I sing it. So we're going through. Look at the pedal line, look, the bass line, bom, 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 bom. And 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. And then you bring your pedal in and your chord in with that last brass punch. So we've got a solo trumpeter and then a brass section kind of punches in like that. Okay, so 1. So notice the fingering there. Look, I'm going 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 on the F. So what we could do also to brighten that is take the solo trems off and the tuba just to give it a little bit more. Because obviously we want that to be nice and untrimmed. In fact, often with reeds, I find taking the trem off it's a good idea to do that. It gives them a lot more bite instead of having them trem. They don't have a lot of trem on them, but it just makes them sound a bit floppy, so like they've melted. So you've got to really know where that B flat is, like da da da. 1 up. And then we go back down. Now, something that we did in another YouTube video was a thing called a chord boost, a phrase boost. And a little trick is keep the melody as a solo. And then as you go to the last few bars, start to add chords in. And certainly the last 2 bars, definitely. Now we've got this little riff here, look. At the Bugle Call Rag, 1. Done. No, it's not. And what that's going to let us do is go around, because you've got first time bars there, haven't we? We're going to go back round. So this is the bottom of page 3, gang. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back round to the second line where I've marked in red a repeat line. And what we're going to do when we press number 4 is we're going to bring the sound brighter still by bringing in some horns, the English horn at 16. And that's going to come out really nice and big there. So we're going to go just play that last little phrase there, those last 8 bars again, because the actual chorus is 16 bars long. We're going to do the last 8. While we're dancing, please hold me tight. Step lively, don't lag. Swing along to the bugle call rag. Da 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 dum bum bum bum. While we're dancing. So that's a common thing that we go back round. But listen to the difference, look. As I change the registration, you get a little bit more bite. Now, why are we only adding the 16 foot? Well, if you may remember, when we went to the chorus, we added the great octave. If we had the 8 foot English horn on, it would be playing up here and it would be a little bit too much. So the 16 foot allows the 16 foot area to play of the rank and also the 8 foot up here. So let's now go and play that chorus one more time. Here we go. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I've done there, I've actually borrowed and altered the music slightly, and by going, because you notice that in the first time box, look, the first time bars at the bottom of page 3, it goes to that bugle call 1, and it goes down to an A flat. That's a B flat 7, so 1. But, so what I did, I took that and I just varied it slightly to give me an ending. 1. So I'm going 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1, the end. So that gives me a little ending to finish off with there. So let's play at a slightly steadier pace the whole thing up to that point. Here we go. Drums. Isn't it great? So that's the end of the first video focusing on that arrangement of this great song called the Bugle Call Rag. Don't forget, if you'd like to get a complimentary copy of that piece of music but with the annotations on of this arrangement so far, You can do that by supporting my channel on patreon.com/keyboard skills pro, where you can also get the registration file for how it works for this particular organ pack and the screenshots of all the general presets if you'd like to recreate them. So please do visit my website and you'll be able to get the link to there, or just go to patreon.com/keyboard skills pro. Thanks for watching Bugle Call Rag Part 1, everybody. In the next video, we're going to show you how to do some improvising and also some repeats and some fun things with a few ideas that we've borrowed from the great Mr. Torch's arrangement of this piece. And so if you've not heard any music recorded on the theatre organ by one of the greatest cinema organists of the heyday, Mr. Sidney Torch, I thoroughly recommend having a listen to some of the organs like the Marble Arch Christie, the Regal Edmonton Christie, and one or two other great British theatre organs as well. My name's Tom Horton, folks. Do hit subscribe, hit the like button, share the video around, and we'll see you in the next video exploring the fun song that is the Bugle Call Rag. Thanks for watching, we'll see you soon.